The first steps to bridging the digital divide is to address the lack of data on where in the U.S. has coverage. RFD-TV's Corinne LaRue visits with one leader who describes how specific sectors in the world wrestle with chronic unemployment and how they aim to change that.
Tom Ferree is here with us today. You are, 11 years now involved with Connected Nation. Can you tell me how you got started?
Sure. It's a great pleasure of mine to have spent the last decade or so of my career giving back in such a meaningful way. Connected Nation, our mission is to make sure that we get all the empowering abilities of technology out to the underserved or unserved areas, and there's nothing more gratifying from a career perspective than to find this calling of public service. Our nonprofit has been fortunate enough to be at this for 18 years now. It's phenomenal to think that we're still working at this, but as technology churns, there's always work to be done. And so I think that's probably one of the best ways I would say is how we got involved. Is I've always just been drawn to helping people and making sure that I firmly believe that as a nation we're only at our best if everyone is able to achieve that. And so that's really what inspires our work on a daily basis.
Okay. And what has your favorite part of the mission been?
I think when we see opportunity and empowerment come to communities and individuals that have otherwise been left out, I think that is something that really compels and drives our team. One of the biggest areas that we can help bring broadband to that level of transformation is when we can equip somebody with a job. Right now we're enjoying a pretty good time in our economy where a lot of folks that want to work have the ability to do that. But yet there are whole sectors that are somehow left out of that, and in particular the military spouse community. It just seems not right that some of the families that give the most to our country are wrestling with chronic unemployment because of their continual moving. Their nomadic nature of their job and their life takes them from base to base, and therefore finding gainful employment can sometimes be a challenge. The great thing about broadband is we have found a way now to help those individuals get connected with telework jobs and leverage broadband and connectivity to stave off unemployment gaps. So the only time they need to be out of work is when they're physically in transit. So that's been a great part of our job too.
Okay. And, what are the next steps in improving connection to rural America, would you say?
Well, I would tell you, one of the great things that brings us here to Washington this week for our Board of Directors meeting is to understand that right now there is such an effort afoot federally to start to get broadband out into rural communities. There has been many Congresses in the past that have done a lot of talking. This Congress we're very inspired about because they seem to be wanting to take some action about that. They have made provisions to get literally billions of dollars per year to help solve this problem. But one of the first things we need to do is make sure we know where those investments need to flow. Broadband mapping and availability mapping is a very important component of that because we want to make sure where we steer those dollars are going to make the biggest impact. So we're very inspired by some of the leadership we're seeing out of this Congress to begin to work with the FCC to require more accurate and granular depictions of where the gaps are so that those dollars can really make a difference.
Okay. And is there anything else that you would like to include?
I just want to tell you, we're here Zippy Duval is the president of American Farm Bureau. He has graciously hosted us this week, and that is a gentleman I just can't say enough about. I have so enjoyed getting to know him over the years, and certainly the American Farm Bureau has been a long-standing partner of Connected Nation. It's wonderful to have a gentleman like Zippy leading the organization and to partner with as we go into rural communities.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tom, for your time today. We're going to go ahead and toss it back to you guys at the desk.
Well, while broadband mapping remains a top priority for many in Washington, D.C., carriers are still trying to figure out what the solution is to actual better mapping.